In a move that once again showcased his unparalleled ability to create chaos, former President Donald Trump made international headlines today by suggesting that the United States might consider taking Greenland by military force. This bold and outlandish statement immediately drew sharp reactions, including a pointed response from Denmark's Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen. In this transatlantic showdown, we'll break down the details of Trump's latest provocation, the Danish Prime Minister's reaction, and the implications of this diplomatic firestorm. The controversy began when Trump, in a press conference, was asked whether he could assure the world that he would not use military or economic coercion to assert U.S. control over Greenland. His response was anything but reassuring. Trump flatly stated that he could not offer such assurances, leaving the door wide open for speculation about his intentions. Instead, he justified his remarks by emphasizing Greenland's strategic and economic importance, aligning his position with historical U.S. interests in the region. Trump's comments immediately raised eyebrows, conjuring images of imperialist invasions and aggressive foreign policy. Such rhetoric is reminiscent of the actions of authoritarian regimes, not democratic allies. Analysts were quick to point out that this latest provocation echoed Trump's pattern of alienating traditional allies while cozying up to autocrats like Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un. The MSNBC panel discussing Trump's remarks dismissed the idea of a serious military threat, instead characterizing it as yet another example of Trump's penchant for distraction. Panelists speculated that Trump may have been attempting to divert attention from scandals plaguing his administration, including problematic cabinet nominations and ethics investigations. They emphasized that his remarks about Greenland were likely a calculated move to dominate headlines and deflect from domestic controversies. Still, the Danish Prime Minister did not take Trump's comments lightly. Mette Frederiksen responded with a firm and resolute statement, underscoring Greenland's sovereignty and the autonomy of its people. She declared, "Greenland is for the Greenlandic people. It is a very proud people with a language and culture of their own." Frederiksen's remarks emphasized Denmark's respect for Greenland's self-determination and rebuffed Trump's suggestion outright. Frederiksen also highlighted Denmark's commitment to working closely with the United States on defense and security issues in the North Atlantic. She expressed Denmark's preference for U.S. leadership in the region rather than influence from rivals like Russia or China. However, she made it clear that any cooperation must respect Greenland's sovereignty. Her remarks struck a delicate balance, asserting Denmark's principles while maintaining diplomatic ties with the U.S. While Frederiksen's response was measured, Trump's reaction to her statement was anything but. He labeled her comments as nasty and inappropriate, doubling down on his belief that Greenland should be a U.S. territory. Trump referenced historical precedents, including President Harry Truman's failed attempt to purchase Greenland in 1946. He criticized Frederiksen's blunt dismissal of the idea as absurd and accused her of disrespecting the United States. Trump's remarks underscored his pattern of attacking strong women who challenge him. His use of the term nasty echoed past criticisms he leveled against female leaders, including German Chancellor Angela Merkel and former British Prime Minister Theresa May. This rhetoric fueled further backlash, with critics accusing Trump of misogyny and diplomatic ineptitude. Political analysts noted the irony in Trump's fixation on Greenland. While he portrayed the U.S. as vulnerable to invasion, his own comments evoked the image of an aggressor preparing to seize foreign territory. The juxtaposition highlighted the disconnect between Trump's fearmongering about border security and his cavalier attitude toward violating other nations' sovereignty. The MSNBC panel also pointed out that Trump's chaotic approach to diplomacy undermined long-standing U.S. foreign policy principles. The United States has historically championed sovereignty and self-determination, supporting allies like Ukraine against Russian aggression. Yet, Trump's comments suggested a willingness to abandon those principles in pursuit of territorial expansion. Some panelists speculated about the potential fallout from Trump's remarks. Would his statements embolden adversaries like Russia and China? Could they strain U.S. alliances in Europe? Would future leaders need to repair the damage caused by Trump's impulsive rhetoric? These questions loomed large as analysts assessed the broader implications of Trump's behavior. The Danish Prime Minister's statement effectively shut down the idea of Greenland being for sale, but Trump's comments reignited debates about U.S. influence in the Arctic. Greenland's strategic location and natural resources have long made it a subject of interest for global powers. However, Denmark's firm stance suggested that any discussions about Greenland's future would need to prioritize respect for its people and government. Trump's remarks also raised concerns about the militarization of U.S. foreign policy. Reporters at the press conference pressed him for details about his plans. Would he order military actions to enforce U.S. claims? Would he target Greenlandic infrastructure? Trump's vague responses left these questions unanswered, fueling speculation about his intentions. Critics argued that Trump's comments highlighted the dangers of his leadership style. His penchant for chaos and provocation often overshadowed substantive policy discussions, leaving allies uncertain and adversaries emboldened. The Greenland episode served as yet another example of Trump's unpredictable approach to governance. Despite the backlash, Trump attempted to defend his position by citing historical precedents. He referenced Truman's interest in Greenland and claimed that discussions about its acquisition had been ongoing for decades. However, critics noted that the context had changed significantly since Truman's time. Modern international norms emphasize sovereignty and self-determination, making Trump's proposal seem outdated and out of touch. In the end, the Greenland controversy highlighted the challenges of navigating diplomacy under Trump's leadership. Allies faced the dual task of managing U.S. relations while countering Trump's erratic behavior. Meanwhile, domestic critics warned that his rhetoric risked damaging America's global standing and undermining its values. As the situation unfolded, journalists and commentators continued to analyze Trump's motives. Was this another calculated distraction? A genuine policy proposal? Or simply an example of Trump's impulsive nature? Regardless of the answer, the Greenland episode served as a stark reminder of the chaos that often defined his presidency. While Trump may view his approach as a display of strength, critics argued that it revealed weakness, a reliance on bluster and bravado rather than diplomacy and strategy. As the story develops, the international community will be watching closely to see whether Trump's comments have lasting consequences or fade into the background as yet another example of his chaotic tenure.